hook and the rise of the Tate brothers. For most people, becoming one of the most controversial figures on the internet would be a nightmare. For Andrew Tate, it became the fuel that powered an empire. Over the last few years, Andrew and Tristan Tate transformed themselves from former kickboxers into two of the most recognizable faces online. To millions of supporters, they represented confidence, discipline, and financial freedom. To critics, they became symbols of toxic influence and endless controversy. At their peak, Andrew Tate ranked among the most searched people on Google. His clips flooded TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and X. Whether people admired him or couldn't stand him, they couldn't stop talking about him. But internet fame can disappear as quickly as it arrives. As legal battles mounted, business ventures came under scrutiny, and even some of their own followers began questioning their decisions. Many started asking the same question, ***, where are the Tate brothers now and what happened to the empire they spent years building? To understand where they are today, we have to go back to where it all began. Andrew and Tristan Tate were born to an American chess master father and an English mother. Growing up wasn't glamorous, and long before private jets and luxury cars, the brothers were simply trying to find a way to stand out. Both found success in kickboxing, earning championship titles and building reputations as elite fighters. But athletic success alone wasn't enough. They wanted something much bigger than trophies. Reality television became their first step into the spotlight. Tristan appeared on the British series *Shipwrecked* in 2011, while Andrew later joined *Big Brother*. His time on the show ended abruptly after footage involving a woman resurfaced online, creating controversy that many believed would end his public career before it truly began. Instead, it marked the beginning of something entirely different. Andrew shifted his attention to social media, where he crafted a bold online persona built around wealth, confidence, masculinity, and relentless self-promotion. Every expensive car, every luxury watch, every viral interview reinforced the image he wanted the world to see. His message attracted millions of young men looking for direction, motivation, and financial success, but it also attracted an equally passionate group of critics. And rather than avoiding controversy, Andrew Tate appeared to embrace it. Building an empire, Andrew Tate didn't become one of the internet's biggest personalities by accident. Behind the luxury lifestyle was a carefully built business machine, one that promised ordinary men they could escape what he called the Matrix. His public image revolved around exotic cars, private jets, expensive watches, and absolute confidence. To many young followers, he looked like proof that anyone could achieve extraordinary wealth if they adopted his mindset. But that wealth didn't come from kickboxing alone. Andrew openly described how his early fortune came from operating a webcam business with multiple women. In past interviews and on archived versions of his website, he explained the methods he claimed to have used to recruit women into the business and presented those experiences as the blueprint for making money. Those statements would later become some of the most controversial pieces of evidence critics pointed to when evaluating his public image. Instead of distancing himself from that past, Tate often discussed it openly, turning it into part of his personal brand. As his audience exploded, he launched **Hustlers University**, an online subscription platform that promised to teach members how to build wealth through skills like investing, e-commerce, freelancing, and entrepreneurship. For around $50 a month, subscribers weren't just buying lessons. They were buying access to Andrew Tate himself, or at least the idea of becoming more like him. Then came **The War Room**, an exclusive community with a far higher price tag. It was marketed as a private network where successful men could build discipline, accountability, and powerful business connections. To supporters, these programs represented self-improvement. To critics, they looked like increasingly expensive layers of the same business model. Regardless of which side people believed, one fact was undeniable. The Tate brothers understood how to keep people invested. Every new course unlocked another level, every membership offered another goal. Every promotion suggested there was another step toward becoming financially free. It wasn't just about selling information, it was about selling belonging. The more someone invested financially and emotionally, the harder it became to walk away. At the same time, Andrew leaned further into controversy. Instead of avoiding backlash, he often treated it as free advertising. His interviews produced viral clips almost weekly. Supporters shared them as truth, critics shared them in outrage. Either way, the algorithm rewarded both. The result was remarkable. Andrew Tate was no longer simply an internet personality. He had become a cultural phenomenon. But the same strategy that helped build his empire was also creating a growing list of critics, journalists, and authorities who were paying very close attention. And before long, the conversation would shift from viral interviews to criminal investigations and international headlines. When the empire started to crack by the end of 2022, Andrew Tate's rise seemed unstoppable. He dominated social media feeds, attracted millions of followers, and appeared in some of the biggest interviews on the internet. But behind the viral clips and luxury lifestyle, pressure was quietly building. In December 2022, everything changed. Romanian authorities arrested Andrew and Tristan Tate as part of an investigation involving allegations that included human trafficking, forming an organized criminal group, and other related offenses. The brothers denied all wrongdoing from the very beginning, insisting they were being unfairly targeted. The arrests immediately became global news. For supporters, it was proof that powerful institutions wanted to silence someone who challenged the system. For critics, it appeared to confirm long-standing concerns about the brothers' business practices and public statements. As investigators continued their case, archived interviews and older videos resurfaced across the internet. Statements Andrew had once made about relationships, control, and his webcam business were replayed by news outlets and commentators around the world. Clips that had once been shared as entertainment were now being viewed through a very different lens. The image he had carefully built was beginning to fracture. After spending months in detention, the brothers were released from jail and placed under house arrest while legal proceedings continued. Andrew quickly returned to social media. Rather than keeping a low profile, he doubled down. He described himself as the victim of a coordinated campaign and repeatedly argued that the accusations lacked evidence proving the claims against him. Throughout the investigation, both Andrew and Tristan continued to deny every allegation. But something had changed. Small moments also began to damage the image of complete confidence he had spent years creating. Tweets about his appearance after jail were mocked online. Posts claiming he had been poisoned in prison were later deleted. Public interviews became more defensive, and critics argued that the once unshakable top G persona was beginning to show signs of pressure. Still, his influence hadn't disappeared. Major streamers and creators continued inviting him onto their platforms. Supporters defended him across social media. His audience remained enormous. Yet the conversation was no longer centered on success, discipline, or expensive cars. Now it revolved around court cases, investigations, and an uncertain future. And while Andrew fought to protect his reputation, another decision would prove even more damaging. It wouldn't come from a courtroom. It would come from the very audience that had made him famous, when even the fans started asking questions. For years, Andrew Tate insisted he wasn't interested in cryptocurrency. He publicly criticized influencer-backed coins, arguing that too many creators were using their audiences as exit liquidity. He claimed he had no desire to profit from speculative tokens and repeatedly said he would never launch one himself. But over time, that position began to change. The Tate brothers started promoting crypto-related projects and eventually introduced ventures tied to ***, the real world ***, Andrew's successor to Hustlers University. The platform was marketed as more than an online school. It promised members practical skills, a like-minded community, and a path toward financial independence. But it also introduced a ranking system that rewarded users for staying active. The longer members remained inside the ecosystem, the more status they accumulated. Leaving meant losing that progress, creating another incentive to keep paying the monthly subscription. Supporters saw an ambitious business model. Critics saw something very different. Questions grew louder when Andrew became involved with several cryptocurrency projects, despite his earlier criticism of influencer coins. Some of those tokens experienced sharp price swings after receiving attention online, leading many investors to report significant losses. One of the loudest critics was investigative YouTuber ***CoffeeZilla***, who examined several of the projects and argued that the overall structure raised serious concerns. His videos quickly spread across the internet, bringing even more attention to the controversy. Andrew rejected those criticisms. He dismissed CoffeeZilla's reporting, defended his own actions, and encouraged supporters to push back against what he viewed as unfair attacks. The debate quickly moved beyond cryptocurrency. It became a battle over credibility. For years, Andrew had built his reputation on one central promise, ***, trust me because I tell the truth. ***. Now, many people were asking whether that trust had been misplaced. What made the situation different wasn't the criticism itself. Andrew Tate had always had critics. This time, the doubts were coming from inside his own community. Across social media, some longtime supporters began expressing frustration after losing money on crypto projects connected to his brand. Others questioned whether the man who preached personal responsibility should also accept responsibility when followers felt they had been misled. Andrew responded with the same message he had promoted for years. He argued that no one is entitled to easy money and that people should take responsibility for their own financial decisions. For loyal supporters, that explanation was enough. For others, it marked a turning point. The image of the untouchable mentor was beginning to fade, and while public opinion shifted online, legal pressure continued to build in multiple countries. The biggest challenge to the Tate brothers wasn't coming from YouTube creators or social media critics anymore, it was coming from courtrooms. A legacy defined by controversy. Even as public opinion shifted, Andrew and Tristan Tate refused to step away from the spotlight. Instead, they continued giving interviews, posting online, and insisting that they were the targets of a coordinated campaign designed to destroy their reputation. But while they fought the narrative in public, legal challenges continued to expand. In Romania, the criminal proceedings remained active as the brothers continued denying every allegation against them. Meanwhile, authorities in the United Kingdom pursued separate legal action involving historical allegations. The brothers' legal team argued that the accusations were unproven and stated that they would vigorously defend their clients in court. The legal pressure was no longer limited to one country, it had become international. In early 2025, the brothers were allowed to leave Romania temporarily and traveled to the United States, a move that immediately sparked worldwide headlines. Speculation quickly spread online about how they had been permitted to travel. Political figures were asked whether they had played any role. Most publicly denied having any involvement. The controversy followed the Tate brothers across the Atlantic. Florida officials made it clear that they were reviewing the situation, while public comments from state leaders signaled that the brothers would receive close scrutiny if they remained there. Once again, Andrew responded the only way he knew how. He pushed back publicly. He argued that he had committed no crimes in the United States and portrayed the renewed attention as another example of authorities targeting him. Because of his influence, eventually, the brothers returned to Romania, where the legal process continued. At the same time, more civil lawsuits, financial disputes, and investigations emerged, keeping their names in the headlines even when no new interviews or viral clips were circulating. Yet perhaps the biggest change wasn't happening inside a courtroom, it was happening online. Just a few years earlier, Andrew Tate seemed impossible to ignore. His clips dominated social media, his quotes were everywhere. His influence shaped conversations among millions of young men. Today, that influence feels different. He still commands a loyal audience. His supporters continue defending him, his critics remain just as vocal. But the cultural dominance that once made him unavoidable has noticeably faded. Instead of being seen as an unstoppable force, he has become a deeply polarizing figure whose future may be determined less by social media and more by the outcome of ongoing legal proceedings. Whether history ultimately remembers Andrew and Tristan Tate as misunderstood entrepreneurs, master marketers, or cautionary examples will depend on facts that are still being argued in court. For now, one thing is certain. Few people have understood the internet better than the Tate brothers. They built one of the most influential personal brands of the digital era by turning attention into power, but attention is a double-edged sword. The same spotlight that helped build their empire also exposed every controversy, every business decision, and every legal challenge to the entire world. Today, the question is no longer how the Tate brothers became famous. It's whether they can ever rebuild the influence they once had or whether their legacy has already been written. Only time and the courts will answer that question.